This is something that everyone's talking about. Everyone who doesn't even watch football is talking about it. Youth league coaches are probably sending videos to people. My flag football team sending this play to everybody about trying to do this. Is the play we did in the game that scored a touchdown, but they called it back. What they're called the snow globe play. Now, my question here is, I was kind of obviously everyone was like blown away by the play. It's ridiculous. It worked, but is that kind of interesting that we were pulling this play out week 18 instead of waiting to bust that bad boy out during the playoffs to just throw teams off, JD? Or how do you feel about that?
I think this is the best time to do it. Don't run something like that during the playoffs. You run it on, game 17, okay, at the very week 18, when you're up 3 touchdowns, all right, and you're going in with 10 yards to go score. That's when you do it. No. Hey, I like all the cute stuff. I really do. But, hey, this is having fun and just showing everybody we having fun while we're out here, right? That's what it is. But you'd have been playing for something else, for the playoffs, not this snow globe or whatever they want to call it. Hey, man, it looked cute. It was fun, all right? And it worked without the penalty. But
horrible call.
Yeah. He didn't hold him. Orlando Brown did not hold that dude. They should have let them have the play, man. That sucked. And to answer the question, this was the perfect time to do it. And this is Andy Reid on brand as it could be. This is what he loves to do in games that he gets a feel of things pretty quickly. And I think we all knew pretty quickly because the Chiefs actually scored an opening drive touchdown for, I think, the 5th time all season. Andy Reid knew they had this game won. And sometimes his cuteness gets a little annoying because I'm like, Andy, the game's not over. This game, I don't know what you're thinking right now, bro. Just score a damn touchdown. But when it works like that, it looks cool and it's all smooth and you can tell the team been working on it all week. It's fun, man. That's what makes this game fun. And we've seen Andy, like, even in the preseason where he had Justin Reed kicking PATs and kicking the football off from the tee. Like, Andy loves to have fun. This is why players love playing for him, because he's a guy that wants them to be rewarded with things because these guys work their ass off. JD, you played in the league for over a decade, man. You guys bust your ass. Yeah. And to be able to have some fun like this and make the game you've been playing since you're a child to be a little bit more childlike, these guys are going to sign up for that, man. So it was great to see. I don't anticipate it's going to happen in the playoffs unless there's a Steelers-esque kind of game like the Chiefs were whooping the Steelers last season in the better than a bye game, as our guy Nick Wright so eloquently put it. Unless something like that happens, I don't envision that's going to ever be seen again. The Chiefs are going to take those games very seriously.
And really, during the week, I'm going to be honest with you, you're actually having at least maybe 2 or 3 trick plays that you're trying anyway. They're just putting some things in. I can imagine Andy and them probably got about 10, to be honest. They probably like this talking to each other. Hey, man, let's go ahead and do the snow globe play. You want to try it? Like, yeah, let's try it this time. Patrick's like, oh, shoot, they're going to call it. All right, guys, let's snow globe. Oh, they having a blast out there. They are. They having a ball out there, man. I love seeing it, And I think sometimes defenses could be like, man, y'all really disrespectful, like that. So, but nah, man, it was good. It was fun to watch it.
What do you make when you see that kind of play being run in an NFL game? Because 20 years ago, you're like, that play like that's never going to be run in the NFL, and then like now we're seeing that kind of like crazy like youth league, Pop Warner kind of play like being shown in front of us, and it's like it's working to perfection too, minus the flag they call.
Yeah, look, when you have stellar guys like the Chiefs do, you have pretty much the ability to try anything, especially Patrick Mahomes, right? We know, hey, look, he's the magic man, so he's doing everything underneath and stuff. So there's nothing out the realm of possibility but him, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, Pat, snow globe.
Well, hey. And plus, when you've won over 70 plus games over the last 5 years, you've hosted the last 4 AFC championships, and you have the cachet and clout that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have, you really can't say anything on the opposite end of this. You just have to take it on the chin and realize, hey, these guys have earned this right, man. These guys are the class of the NFL. Yeah. What are we going to say? Hey, stop it. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, you just have to take it on the chin and let them play their game, man, because they've earned it.
And it worked.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why I asked why we didn't wait till the playoffs, like to run these plays. Look at when we played the Niners in the Super Bowl down the red zone, we did that play that ran the Rose Bowl in the 1950s. And then you had that same Steeler game you're talking about, Lance. I think we had Hardman play. And this is the first quarter, remember? We had the fumble. Yep. Hardman took a snap. It's like, oh, shit, what are we doing here? I know a lot of people were upset we were doing that in the playoffs, but, like, you know, I mean, that's why I thought when we wait to show a different look like that in the playoffs.
No, man, look, you quantified right now. There's nothing really up against it you're worried about as far as if it messes up, it doesn't work, fine, whatever. Yeah. Right? Playoffs is, you know you're going home if it doesn't work. So, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, if you do lose in the playoffs, all they're going to be talking about the snow goal play that didn't work. Like, what were they thinking? Like, what is this? You know?
Yeah.
Is mine? Is this it? Is this the moment? Is what he's going to be remembered for?
They'll be calling it the Rosebud play because they dropped the snow globe. Yeah. Is a game reference? There was one tweet that I saw during the game from Colin Cowherd. I don't agree with all Colin Cowherd's takes, but this is one that I thought was interesting. He's big on the offensive coach, head coaches being more towards the young offensive mind type things. And he tweeted something out during the game after that snow globe play. He said, Andy Reid is running razzle dazzle I've never seen before. Josh McDaniels calls it fade on a crucial play in the red zone. The offensive gap in the league isn't just at quarterback. And I gotta say, I mean, I was watching I got a whole thing about the fade route in the end zone, how that's one of the by completion percentage, was one of the lowest percentage plays to run in the red zone, the fade route. And that's something that, you know, you see that. That's, you know, it's something that's always been a thing, right? But, like, what do you make of that, JD? That tweet specifically, kind of the offensive gap that we're seeing in the league now. That we're seeing snow globe type plays, then we're seeing just the traditional throw the fade up in the back of the end zone type plays on third and goal.
Well, it's some validity to it, but it all depends who's at the helm, who's throwing the football. Yeah. All of that matters. It really does. And so if you have like a traditional quarterback, you know, like a Tom Brady that Josh McDaniel had, and, you know, the guy that you run it, you're going to be very selective of what you run, right? When you have Patrick Mahomes, you know, then you could extend them, like, as far as like your possibilities. And like for Andy, it's a match made in heaven. That's a toy, because it's like, man, this guy can make every throw that I'm asking him to throw, right? So some guys you just know, like, look, this guy doesn't have the arm for this. We know he can't make that play. With Patrick Mahomes, there is no, what is it? You know, what's his limit as far as doing things, right? We know he could chuck it 80 yards down the field if he needed to, if we're, you know, get someone off his knees and, you know, overhand. So that's the thing about it. When you have a guy who has that ability to make certain throws, you can do more things with it, right? And so that's why the offense looks like that. You can be more creative with these guys. And so also, too, when you sit there and you look at Kadarius Toney, you know, you got JuJu, you got Travis Kelce. I mean, you got all these myriad of, like, you know, weapons around you, too. I mean, and they're having a great time. Believe me. Yeah. I guarantee every offensive meeting, these guys are sitting there and they're just sitting there like, man, what else are we going to do this week? You know, we got so much more we can do. Josh Daniel, he's sitting there like, oh, geez. Well, let me see. We tried that one. It didn't work. You know, well, you know, you got something you want to do. So there's a difference. There's differences there, right? Yeah. You know, so that's where I think that lies in. But, you know, look, Andy's creative. We know my man out there and with the Rams is creative. I can't think.
Sean McVay.
McVay is creative, you know. So there's some minds out here that's doing some things, work, getting guys open. I'm just looking at it from an offensive mind, you know, how guys are getting open, working in certain positions and whatnot. So, matter of fact, and I'm going to say this, when this year's over, I wanted to go into some of these games and start looking at a little bit more of some of these things as far as, like, offenses, what they're doing, you know, to get guys open even, you know, because it has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, sports are, especially when it comes to dynasties or teams that have been successful for a long period of time, it's always the tale of the duo. If you look in basketball, you see Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan. You see Phil Jackson and MJ or Shaq and Kobe. You see just throughout history, Bill Russell and his coaching that he had back in the day. It's always that. And then you see Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They were perfect for each other because Tom Brady played more of a conservative, safer style of football, with Bill Belichick being a genius on the defensive side and had an elite defense that really carried the way. So when it comes to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I always feel like Andy Reid was this beautiful mind, this beautiful artist that was just missing this key to the picture. And he spent 15, 20 years waiting for that opportunity to have that special piece. And he finally got it, and that's why it looks so easy, and that's why the rest of the league is chasing that. Because as JD just spoke about, Sean McVay having that brilliant mind, the one season he has a top-tier type of quarterback in Matt Stafford, what's he do? He wins the damn Super Bowl. Yeah. You look at Kyle Shanahan out there just maximizing mediocre quarterback play and taking teams to the NFC Championship multiple times into Super Bowl. That's because he's a brilliant mind. He's a genius. If he had a Patrick Mahomes, the Niners would have a couple Super Bowl championships right now. Sean McVay would have more Super Bowl opportunities. He had with Jared Goff and Matt Stafford, and he's been to 2 with those guys. Mm-hmm. So Andy Reid has just put a lot of work into it, and he's getting his opportunity to do so, and that's why it's no surprise that he's standing above the rest, because he finally has that piece to do what he's been wanting to do for the better part of 2+ decades. So that's what it comes down to, man. It's just the tale of the duos. We've seen it throughout all sports. Once you have that coach and that superstar player that are aligned and are functioning together on the same page, you don't beat them for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. I will say, just thinking about the fade route in general, we don't really run the fade route that much with our offense. We don't really do the back against throwing.
Jody Forts, I think, has got a couple. That's about it.
That's it. It was mostly in the preseason with those fade routes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.